NASA has recently highlighted an exciting opportunity to focus on Venus, following the recent discovery of potential signs of life on the planet. If you were to explore NASA's archives from the 1960s, you'd notice how they described Venus as a planet of judgment, while Mars was seen as a more favorable target for exploration. This categorization wasn't an isolated event during the intense space race of that era. Interestingly, the Soviet Union focused its expensive missions on Venus, even though it appeared to have little potential for life. Despite the harsh environment, the Soviet space program continued its exploration efforts until the fall of the Soviet Union. Thanks to the insights from Neil deGrasse Tyson, we now understand more about why the Soviets were so determined to explore Venus. In this exploration, we'll take a deeper look at declassified photographs of Venus taken by the Soviet Union. The fall of the Soviet Union was a pivotal moment that altered global dynamics and revealed a wealth of secrets, including the Soviet obsession with Venus. The Soviet Union had a reputation for keeping secrets, especially when it came to extraterrestrial contact and their space capabilities. Before the US took the lead in planetary exploration, the Soviet Union was at the forefront of space missions. Their particular focus was on Venus, a planet referred to as Venera in Russian. From 1961 to 1983, the Soviets launched a series of missions to Venus while the US was focused on its lunar missions. It remains unclear why the Soviet Union was so focused on Venus, given its extremely hostile environment. Some speculate they might have considered it for military use or potential colonization after searching for signs of life. However, most of what we know about these missions comes from declassified data, leaving much of their purpose shrouded in mystery. The Soviet Union didn't just explore Venus once or twice. They launched a total of 28 missions, with 13 probes entering Venus's atmosphere and 8 landing on its surface. These ambitious missions placed the Soviets ahead in planetary exploration. In fact, they were the first to send a probe into the atmosphere of a planet other than Earth and achieved a number of other significant milestones. For example, the Soviet Union was the first to make a soft landing on another planet and to return images and sounds from its surface. Despite these remarkable accomplishments, we hear little about them today, largely due to the Soviets' secretive nature. When the Soviet Union dissolved in 1992, much of its historical space data was lost or destroyed, leaving us with incomplete information. Still, if we were to guess, it seems that cost efficiency may have played a significant role in their decision to focus on Venus rather than Mars. Venus, despite its hostile conditions, is much closer to Earth, with an average distance of 40 million kilometers compared to Mars's 250 million kilometers. This vast difference in distance would have significantly impacted mission costs. While Venus's high temperatures and thick atmosphere make it unlikely to support life, the Soviet missions provided valuable information about the planet's environment. However, today most astronomers agree that Venus is too hostile for life as we know it, with temperatures high enough to melt lead and crushing atmospheric pressure. Even so, the Soviets' contributions to the study of Venus were vital to our understanding of the planet. During the height of the Cold War, the space race was a major driver for both the Soviet Union and the United States. When NASA struggled with its Venus missions, which were plagued by failures during the 1960s, the Soviet Union seized the opportunity to advance. At that time, both nations were determined to win the space race, and Venus became a focal point for the Soviets. Despite NASA's challenges with Venus, they eventually turned their attention to Mars and other celestial bodies, while the Soviets continued their work on Venus. In conclusion, while the Soviet Union's Venus missions may not have received as much attention as NASA's lunar missions or Mars exploration, they played a crucial role in advancing our knowledge of the solar system. Their dedication to exploring the planet of judgment during a time of intense global competition remains a testament
NASA's
to their
collaboration
ambition
with
and
Roscosmos,
technological prowess.
titled
Venera, is an upcoming mission set to investigate the climate and surface of Venus. Scheduled to launch in the late 2020s or early 2030s, this mission aims to study Venus' atmosphere, geological history, and explore any signs of past or present habitability. The spacecraft will consist of an orbiter, a lander, and potentially an atmospheric balloon to thoroughly examine Venus' environment. The legacy of the Soviet Union's Venera missions transcends their technical achievements and holds global significance. Launched during the height of the Cold War, The Venera missions showcased the peak of human ingenuity and determination in space exploration. Despite numerous challenges, the Soviets were relentless in their pursuit to uncover the mysteries of Venus, a planet once believed to be hostile and inhospitable to life. One of the most significant contributions of the Venera missions was their groundbreaking use of robotic probes to study planetary atmospheres and surfaces. These missions paved the way for future exploration beyond Earth's vicinity and established a foundation for planetary science. The data collected by the Venera spacecraft provided critical insights into Venus' extreme weather conditions, including its scorching temperatures, crushing atmospheric pressure, and a carbon dioxide-dominated toxic atmosphere. Moreover, the technological advancements achieved through the Venera program had far-reaching implications for space exploration. The development of durable, heat-resistant materials, robust communication systems, and reliable landing techniques were major milestones. These achievements contributed to subsequent missions to planets like Mars and beyond. Lessons learned from the Venera missions continue to influence spacecraft design and operational strategies in contemporary space exploration efforts. Beyond their scientific and technological importance, the Venera missions had profound cultural and political implications during the space race era. These missions symbolized the competition between superpowers for dominance in space exploration. For the Soviet Union, success in the Venera program was not only about scientific discovery but also about demonstrating technological prowess and ideological superiority over the United States. The global community closely watched each Venera mission, recognizing their significance in expanding humanity's understanding of the solar system. A major milestone came with a successful soft landing of Venera 7 on Venus in 1970, marking the first spacecraft to transmit data from the surface of another planet. This achievement underscored the Soviet Union's ability to overcome the immense challenges posed by Venus' harsh conditions. Along with scientific instruments, the Venera spacecraft carried cameras that captured the first close-up images of Venus' surface. These images revealed a rocky landscape dominated by vast plains and volcanic features, providing scientists with crucial geological insights into the planet's history and evolution. Panoramic photos taken by later missions, such as Venera 13 and 14, further enriched our understanding of Venus' surface morphology and composition. Despite their triumphs, the Venera missions also encountered their fair share of failures and challenges. Several missions failed to reach Venus or experienced technical malfunctions that prevented them from transmitting data back to Earth. The difficulties of operating in Venus' hostile environment, including extreme temperatures exceeding 450 degrees Celsius (842 degrees Fahrenheit) and corrosive sulfuric acid clouds, posed significant engineering challenges for spacecraft design and operation. Nevertheless, the determination and dedication of Soviet scientists and engineers involved in the Venera program laid the groundwork for future missions to Venus and other celestial bodies. The legacy of the Venera missions lives on in the ongoing exploration of Venus by space agencies worldwide, including NASA's upcoming Da Vinci mission in collaboration with Roscosmos' Venera D program. Looking ahead, the Venera D mission aims to build upon the achievements of its predecessors by deploying advanced instruments to study Venus' atmosphere, surface geology, and potential signs of past or present habitability. This mission represents a collaborative effort to unravel the remaining mysteries of Earth's closest planetary neighbor and expand our understanding of conditions that could support life beyond our own planet. The Soviet space program adopted a deliberate yet effective strategy, seizing the opportunity to explore Earth's sister planet, Venus, as part of their mission to outdo their American counterparts during the space race. While NASA focused on the Moon, the Soviets aimed to achieve something different, utilizing their limited resources and overcoming governmental challenges. Their repeated missions to Venus positioned them as the victors in this aspect of the space race, in contrast to NASA's lunar efforts. This division created tension, with both sides employing propaganda to downplay their shortcomings. For instance, the Americans criticized the Soviet obsession with Venus, labeling it the horrendous planet, while Mars was promoted as humanity's true destiny. Despite the criticism, the Soviets remained undeterred. Their ultimate goal was to demonstrate superiority over the US, and they succeeded. The Venera missions, though almost forgotten today, were sophisticated and ambitious. In fact, they could be considered as marking the true beginning of the space age. From the 1950s, the Soviets explored various designs and technical details for their spacecraft, and over the next 30 years, they launched numerous interplanetary missions as part of the Venera program. Given the backdrop of the Cold War, the Soviets aimed to improve their technological capabilities. Their early advantage in resources over the United States allowed them to build larger rockets capable of withstanding the harsh conditions of high altitudes and vast distances. Eager to experiment with both crewed and automated spacecraft, Soviet scientists focused on developing precise instrumentation for interplanetary missions, which led to one of the greatest breakthroughs in space exploration history. In 1966, the Soviets launched Venera 3, which became the first artificial probe to enter Venus's atmosphere and impact its surface. This significant achievement intensified the space race between the two superpowers. Unlike American missions, which faced numerous setbacks, the Soviet program made consistent progress. Despite some challenges, the Soviets successfully sent probes into Venus's atmosphere. One issue they encountered, however, was limited design capacity. Nevertheless, they quickly overcame this, launching the most advanced probes of the Venera program in the 1970s. The Soviets' ability to simultaneously launch Venera 4 and Venera 5 was a testament to their pioneering efforts. According to many historians, the 1970s were the most fascinating decade in the history of space exploration. The United States attempted similar launch strategies, but the Soviet program had its reasons for launching two probes at once. To understand this decision, it's important to recognize the importance of advanced instrumentation for interplanetary travel, which was crucial for gathering the highest quality data. The initial launch of Venera 4 proceeded smoothly, with the spacecraft successfully entering Venus's atmosphere. Shortly after, the Soviets followed up with Venera 5, which was not merely a repeat of the first mission. The second probe was specially designed to collect new and unique data about the planet. The Soviets needed to overcome extreme conditions such as Venus's high temperatures, atmospheric pressure, and radiation. They didn't have to wait long for their answers. By the early 1970s, the Venera missions entered a highly advanced phase. During this period, the Soviets transitioned from research and development to experimental missions. One of the most notable achievements was the launch of Venera 7. As the 11th Soviet probe to enter Venus's atmosphere, it became the first spacecraft to transmit data from another planet. By this time, Soviet scientists had already recorded Venus's high temperatures, density, and surface pressures. They even attempted to capture sounds from the Venusian surface. In the early 1980s, the Venera program achieved even greater success with Venera 13, which surpassed all previous interplanetary missions in terms of complexity. This spacecraft was the first to capture color panoramic photographs of Venus's surface. Simultaneously, the Soviets launched Venera 14 to gather similar data. As one of the first nations to discover and study Venus, the Russian Space Agency has now rekindled its interest in Venus missions. The upcoming Venera missions represent a joint effort to continue the legacy of Soviet space exploration and expand our understanding of this mysterious planet.